So, yes, sync licensing seems to be the golden goose, or maybe a publishing or record deal is what you're after. Although, if you're licensing your music someplace, you're pretty much doing a publishing deal. But stock music also could be profitable if you compose and produce the right music. But what do you do if you are just discovering these music incomes of licensing, but you still want to make music income and you need music income now? You want to quit your job, or you've lost your job, or whatever, and you need income now from music. That's kind of the whole point of this channel and this podcast, is to talk about music incomes. So today we want to talk about the music incomes that maybe aren't as immediately interesting or attractive as licensing, but still can bring in a solid income and have, for me and for Steve both, for years, if not decades. So no waiting for a quarterly check maybe years down the line, or even a check next month from any kind of licensing you get. Use what you have around you and make money now. Bring in income now, this month, soon. And that's what we're trying to do right now. So welcome to episode 56 of the Make Music Income podcast. We talk about music income. And today we're going to talk about music income other than licensing, because we talk a lot about licensing on these channels just because it's a popular subject for the people who watch these channels. It's the most popular subject for sure from the people who watch and listen. And we talk about how you can make more music income now to support your family and yourself. And to help me do this, here is my partner on the podcast, and a man who makes many music incomes right now and in the future, much like myself, Mr. Stevie B.
Hey, folks. I need music income right now, right this moment. And speaking of which, got many irons in the fire, as you guys know. Just released my collaboration with my friend David Fua on Spotify. That came out this morning, and it's on all other streaming platforms as well. This is a track called Endless Ocean. Go check it out. It's like a lo-fi collaboration, and it's my first self-released single of the year. And like I mentioned on a previous podcast, I've got music releases planned for months to come, and the goal is a release every 2 weeks for the rest of 2023. Cool. So this is the first of many, and I even created a little bit of some promo assets for it, which I'm going to post up on Instagram today. So that's been fun, and I'm just excited to kind of, I don't know, just dig into Spotify more throughout this year and collect some of those streaming royalties, those pennies. Just going to try to pile up those pennies slowly but surely.
Pile up those pennies.
Yeah. So. I had a great live stream last Wednesday showcasing the Academy members' work for the January challenge, which was to write a product demo. And as usual, the entries from everyone were just absolutely amazing, totally mind-blowing. And I learned a ton about a whole bunch of products, plugins and VSTs that I never heard of. So did the other members. I also put in a little extra time into my streaming setup so that everything was really seamless, and I got multiple camera angles all set up, which is cool. It was a lot of fun, and I didn't have any technical meltdowns at all this time, which it all went really, really smooth. And I ended the stream and I was like, that felt good. I finally felt good. It didn't feel stressful. Yeah. So, what else is new? I'm putting my finishing touches on the first part of my trailer music course today for the Academy. I'm releasing it in 3 parts, and the first one is getting uploaded today. So I hope that the members get a chance to dig into that. And in the meantime, speaking of trailer music, I picked up the new Spitfire release, the Albion Colossus, yesterday.
Pretty cool,
and it's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm working on a new trailer track, and I was thinking I'm overdue for like a product review on the YouTube channel. I haven't done one of those in a long time. So I was going to work on that today and hopefully put it out next week. Not much else going on. I got a gig tonight with the Dusty Moon Trio here in Vancouver.
Dusty Moon Trio.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. And we had a little rehearsal last night.
It's one thing we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, totally. Right. So, yeah, we do a bit of our own material, but mostly covers of like 50s rockabilly numbers and a bit of country too. We do lots of wedding gigs and stuff in the summer. And then, yeah, tomorrow I take a much needed day off. I'm going to go for a hike, get some fresh air.
Same.
And yeah, let's chat about this. What are we doing other than sync licensing? I mean, I'm doing lots other than sync licensing because I'm not really making any substantial income from sync, performance royalties and stuff like that. So basically, all I do is try to gather my income streams to make a decent living. And there's lots to say about this subject, but
Sure.
where do you even start? Like what?
Well, I'm going to start with what I did this week, if you don't mind, Steve. Just cut me off there.
I totally forgot. I'm sorry. I just got so excited. I just want to get right into it.
I'm being attacked from a cat from the south here, and so I'm trying to. She about pulled my mic down a minute ago.
What did you do this week?
Well, here's what I did. Thanks for asking. I just did a live video, and I did have some complications. In this particular software that I use, which we're using today as an experiment, StreamYard. You have to click when you're going to do stereo audio. So a lot of times I use it to show people's music, and so I have to make sure that the stereo audio button is clicked. Well,
it's kind of like Zoom.
I've switched my mic back to just one channel so I get good mono sound, but today I was only coming through the right channel because I only was going through one thing. So luckily somebody told me it was live, so somebody told me right off that they were only hearing on one side. Arco, I think, as a matter of fact, the one who mentioned it, and I was able to unclick that. So a little bit of issue in those all important first few minutes, when people are going to decide to listen or not listen, and I try to make my lives very not live at the beginning. I don't go in and say, hey, we're live and have all this business and then talk to people in the chat. I don't do that at the beginning of my lives because I want people to get information right off the bat on YouTube, especially. Mm-hmm. So did that, but I was talking about sync, basically some of the new things that have been happening with me with sync, which one of them, the light just went out. One of them is a new library going live at my main BMG library. So that is cool. Finally, the country album, after all these years of gestating, is going live, and
nice.
Happy about that. Then I have a new library that I just got into, and that album is being ingested this week. So that is also happening. That's the percussion album I've been working on for a new library. That this will be my first album there. So I'm hoping that the first of many on this particular library. So that is cool. And these are exclusive libraries with contracts splitting things pretty much down the middle, writers, publishers on the performance side and 50-50 on the sync side.
Yeah.
But this new library is only a 3 or 5 year deal. So not perpetual like my BMG deal, which is everything is perpetual. But it's a much bigger library going out to a bigger engine. And the other cool thing about my BMG library, they're also now working with another company called APM, which is the biggest library in the world, from what I understand.
APN.
APM.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and it's they're working with this library, so that is now happening, and so that is pretty cool. That I've got another library that's attached to the library, if you will. They're going through at Universal and APM now and doing some things. And those are sometimes one-offs. I'm doing 3 new tunes right now that are country or what they call trop rock, which is kind of like Jimmy Buffett music. And then
Margaritaville kind of thing?
Yeah. And then I've got some other country tunes still, for some reason I'm the country guy there, but they want me to do some writing of top lines and stuff over some stuff. So lots of interesting briefs. I just did a dramedy brief for them, and I'm working on a quirky type of brief for them. And so a lot of stuff happening at that library now. It's almost like if briefs that go directly to the library owner, not, I don't have to go to someone in the middle, but it's still a brief like I was doing before. So it's pretty cool. I'm happy about that. And so also what's kind of leading up to all of this with the with the music sync licensing stuff and all of these videos and stuff I'm going to be doing on my channel is kind of leading up to the release of my first sync ebook. It's called, I'm not even going to say what it's called yet, but it's not like it's a big mysterious name, but I will be releasing that here in the next few weeks. I've been working on it and just trying to get it just right and kind of organize it right. But it's coming out, and to be the first people to really hear about this ebook, you make sure you are going to makemusicincome.com/free, and you can get one of my free products like the 50 ways to make music income, like we're talking about today, a lot of income ideas, the do everything checklist, and the ubiquitous style, form, and instrumentation of corporate stock music, probably the most largest worded explanation of stock music in the world, but it was fun to write that paper about stock music when I was working on my master's. So you can get all of those kind of things at makemusicincome.com/free and be part of the email list to get the new Sync ebook when it comes out. I know everybody is looking forward to that because they keep bugging me about it. So you can also subscribe to this podcast or Steve's podcast and or Steve's this podcast if you're listening on a podcast, and you can also subscribe to our channels on YouTube, which would be very helpful.
Yeah.
So cool. And masterminds are going pretty well. See, I can put our names on just like that, and we'll mess with the thing. Masterminds are going pretty well, and we're about a third of the way through. So we're getting past 4 of the 12 weeks now. So those are fun. Listen to a lot of people's music, talking about a lot of music things. And then doing a lot of work for clients as usual and school as usual, which is where most of the money comes from. This is what we're talking about today. How do you make that music income what about music income that would be consistent? How about that? Which leads us into what we're talking about today, which is how to make music income while you are waiting for whatever thing you're waiting for. And most people, as we've been talking about, are waiting for some kind of licensing money to come in from somewhere, whether it's a lot of money coming in, like Steve has had real good success with Artlist and Motion Array and getting that from what we call non-exclusive or royalty-free music of some kind from one of these companies, or and that also kind of is sync. We need to talk about that at some point, about when you talk about sync and Artlist and why that is kind of in the middle of both of these kinds of incomes, stock music licensing and sync licensing kind of, because it kind of goes to both. But everybody is wanting to get to these really attractive kind of licensing incomes. But the truth is, folks, you're going to need to find income besides that, even if you get that going. I've made, this is my year of 80-20, and 80% of my income, if not 90% of my income, is my work for clients, is my teaching at school job. And, that's my YouTube channel is, and these teaching channels are starting to become an income, but and stock or sync licensing is still in its infancy of bringing in enough income for me to survive. I mean, 5 to 10%. So we're going to just talk today about some ideas about how you can make music income right off the bat. And let's start with, to me, what's the most obvious is music production. I think this is one of the most obvious things that you can do. If you're already producing music and you're sending it out to libraries, then you could be producing this for clients. What do you think?
Well, absolutely. I mean, if you're producing music that's at a fairly high quality level, then there's production gigs out there for you. You could write, do work for hire gigs, writing for music libraries. This is a big part of my income. And, it's kind of it's funny. It's kind of a conundrum for me because I'm trying to set myself up for sync royalties in the long term as well. But the music production work just takes up such an enormous chunk of my time that it's hard to find extra time to write music for like the sync libraries, right? And of course, the idea of getting paid up front is attractive, and I need to pay bills right away because I don't teach. So I really have to focus heavily on that kind of stuff. Now, if you're not writing for music libraries, there's other things that you can do as well. You certainly could set yourself up on, work for hire websites like Sound Better, like Fiverr. I know several people who get have some momentum in those on those spaces, and it does take a while to get that momentum. I think
And
Upwork, Upwork, absolutely. But if put a good website together, put a good profile, or put a good resume together, and get on these sites, because I think that it's a viable option in terms of getting just some production gigs. So yeah,
I think it's important that we clarify something you were just talking about. You're talking about music production for libraries, and we talk about making inroads with a library, and then they become somebody who wants music productions from you. But there are also places like Artlist and Motion Array who offer what they call their originals program, where they hire you to work for them. That's different than sync licensing. It's a little different. Explain how that's different than just putting music in there.
Well, if they're buying the music from you straight up, once you sell it to them, you don't own it anymore. You don't own the masters. They're buying the masters from you, so you're not going to receive. I mean, depending on what kind of deal you have set up with the library, you're not going to receive back-end performance royalties, and that's really the case, regardless of whether it's being bought on stock music libraries. Essentially, is that what we tell people is that you probably can't. You shouldn't expect to make any performance royalty back end on royalty-free sites anyway, no matter what the deal is, the contract is. But so a lot of libraries, Artlist is the one that I work with, as you guys know, but other libraries do this too. They will just pay producers to write high-quality music for them. They buy it outright. And from a business model perspective, it makes a lot of sense for them to do that, because they don't have to pay you out in royalties every month or year or whatever they do. And in some cases, they buy out the rights for the back end as well. With Artlist Originals, I do get a slice of that of any potential performance royalty income from it, as well as streaming income. But other libraries, depending on the deal, depending on the situation, they'll buy it out completely. And I've worked in that. Actually, one of the first libraries that I ever worked with did that. They bought it out and they said, you're not entitled to anything. We own it completely, and that's the end of the story.
And again, we should tell people that is about 500 to 1,000 per song. Would you say that's a fair range?
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's going to be a problem for a lot of people to say, oh yes, I'm happy selling my song or doing this work for somebody and only receiving 500 to 1,000 and ever. That's all. There's no other future back end for you in that song, right?
Yeah, well, depending on the deal, there may not be, and then it's really. I mean, people often ask me, like whether I think it's worth it, and I think it's really subjective. It's like, is it worth it for you to let go of a song that you think has potential for like placements or sync potential? It's like it's really a subjective thing. I can't say objectively whether it's the right or the wrong thing. All I know is that I have to focus on these kinds of deals to some extent, because I need money up front in order to keep the wheels on the bus turning. You know what I mean? So
they go round and round, I hear.
They do.
So now, when I wrote this down, I wasn't thinking music production for libraries. I was thinking music production for clients, which is something I still do and help clients do daily. And it's what I've made my living on for 20 plus years, is making tracks for people. Long before licensing, licensing has been a thing for a long time. We're just hearing about it now since COVID. Everybody was at home looking for things to do, and people started talking about music licensing as a way to make income from home. Mm-hmm. So now it's become an easy topic to talk about, hence our channels, but still music production that has nothing to do with licensing is a thing still, ladies and gentlemen. You can still find clients who need to record their newest single, or who need to record their band, or need to record themselves, or just need you to do production work on Upwork, on SoundBetter, things like that. SoundBetter is a terrific site. I've used it mostly for singers, but there are all sorts of producers and composers and stuff on there. And so
we have to put film scoring underneath that
all that kind of stuff
banner too. Yeah. One of the members of the Academy was just someone reached out to him because he's on Artlist, and someone reached out to him and asked him to score, like, I think a 45-minute short film. That was I think it worked out to be a good gig for him.
Yeah, gigs are what we're talking about here, and we'll just skip on to another kind of gig, which is live music gigs. Steve just talked about that in his opening comments about that's what he's going to be doing this weekend. Is that what you're doing?
Tonight.
Tonight.
Tonight's the night.
So that is money made tonight.
Yes.
Right? I mean, they pay you. Most gigs I've ever worked in, I got paid the night of. And every once in a while, they pay you before. Mostly never after. But, it's really nice to get paid the day you are making the music. And so live music gigs are something that have been forgotten about a little over the COVID years, where everybody just said, oh, well, they're gone. But they are back. And it's a way to make income now. If you are trying to figure out, how do I make some income now? Well, look around you. Look around for live music gigs. And if that is your thing, especially, which Steve loves, I'm not a person who thinks, oh man, if I could just go play a 4-hour gig, that would take about 6 hours out of my day so I can make $100. Yay. That's what I want to do. Now you're probably making more, but I'm just saying that's, been my experience with a lot of live gigs where I don't end up making what I feel my time is worth. But it also depends on how much you love live gigs. And
it totally does. Yeah, it totally does. If you're having fun, then it's okay. I did a gig last 2 weeks ago that was so chill. It's like it's this kind, we play in this like kind of swanky joint downtown, and it's like a sit down gig, and we're playing basically background music for like this high end restaurant. Me and my bud, and it's so relaxing. It's so chill. I think I made like $150 or $160 for the gig, and it was like a 2-hour gig. It's not a lot of money, but it's just, and they feed us. And so we make tips sometimes. Totally worth it. It's so low stress. And I don't know, if it's fun, then maybe money's not such isn't a big part of the conversation. But I try to avoid gigs that are like $50, $100 for setting up a lot of stuff and moving amps around and that are just a general pain in the butt.
Yeah. But gigs like that where a lot of it's set up already and there's not a lot of setup and it's just chill, playing.
PA's there.
Don't have to worry about it. You have fun and you get to eat. So music gigs are one of those things. Maybe not quite the $500 or $1,000 that you might get for producing something. The next thing I want to talk about is music teaching, mainly because I'm doing it. Steve has done this before on a lessons level. I've done it before on a lessons level. Mm-hmm. That can burn you out quick, or it can be something you like or don't like. Yeah. But music lessons that you teach in your home or you teach in other people's homes are something that can provide some decent income, depending on how many students you're able to deal with. And then, or a music teaching job is really more what I'm talking about in this thing. And I know many people who are watching and listening are probably teachers at some school or do some teaching of some kind. To me, this is half my income of the year right now. And so it's a big deal. And so it also is a great side gig to everything else because I can teach through everything that I'm doing, through music production, through music licensing, through this channel. All these things I'm doing, students can learn from as I'm teaching. So I think it's not only something that can bring you money, it's something just like music gigs that can be rewarding for you just career-wise, mentally. They add to your resume of what you're able to do and fill you out as a musician for the long term. So you learn a lot by doing it. And you can make income that pays you every other week, which is something that we can't say about almost everything else we're going to say here, is that you will make consistent income, which is one of the reasons why I finished my master's and went back to teach a little bit. So
yeah, teaching is generally a staple for many musicians that I know. And it can be somewhat remote too, depending on what you're teaching to. I know that not everyone is. Especially post COVID, it's like the online lessons aren't ideal. I don't think a lot of people do that, but or maybe they do. I don't even know. But another thing that you could look at is like consulting stuff. Like I've been doing a lot of Zoom chats with folks, just talking about their careers, getting them set up, doing feedback on their music that they're going to send out to libraries for the sync world. And that's an income stream too. So, and
you offer both of those through your academy, correct?
Yeah, I offer them. Exactly. Yeah. Through the academy. I
offer them on my site now as one-off type of deals too. Although the Mastermind is like the next level coaching, but they're all both coaching. And I just put up this week I've been doing 3-song critiques for about 20 years. So I am adding on that element to make music income, might as well. And because people are always asking me what I think of their songs anyway, so you can find that on the site. All right, let's move on here. And we already kind of talked about this a little bit, but I think this is another fairly big income that you could really bring up. I'm starting to see people on our Discord offer their services to people for guitar or for keyboard work or whatever, or just general production work.
Like session work, you mean?
Yeah, where you're acting as either a player only playing one part that somebody needs. Like, let's say I create something and I only have a keyboard guitars to put on. I want to hire a real guitarist. Steve and I are going to work on something here soon. So I will just send the track to the person and say, hey, can you put some guitar on this, and or the Logic session or whatever. Or you could be, session work could also be producing somebody full time, like we were talking about earlier, but this is more being a player or a vocalist or somebody, and you can use a site like Sound Better to offer these services.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and if you're in a town where there are studios that are active, then you can be going to studios and playing for people and doing this session work. So, and that can be $100 an hour territory, where you are getting paid, pretty good money to come in and do your craft. So.
Yeah, I think in terms of doing it locally, it's kind of like a matter of networking and people getting to know you and passing your name on. But I have several friends here in Vancouver who do a ton of that kind of stuff. Great players, bassists, guitarists, keyboardists. And session work and picking up gigs, like a lot of corporate gigs and stuff too, is like a big. It's essential for a few people that I know. It's all they do. Yeah, it can be very lucrative.
All the players I have in Nashville, that's their life is session work, and that's how they pay the bills every week. The next thing, which is kind of tied to teaching gigs and kind of tied to live music gigs, is church music gigs. I know a lot of people and have made a good, like, half of my income in this kind of gig before for years sometimes. And again, a check that comes every week or every 2 weeks. And I hear more and more about people who are doing Sunday morning gigs or whatever, where they're running sound or they're playing live in a band and getting paid $100 per set or $100 per service or whatever. So if this is something that you have done before, you've worked in a church with your music, which more people than you would think are working in church with music, because it's one of those places that always needs music, similar to clubs and things like that. So if you're not the kind of person to go play live music at a bar or something, you might be the kind of person who wants to. And churches, believe me, as a person who's run 2 music teams over the years, I'm always looking for somebody. I would pay someone to run sound just so and get the pastor to pay for it, and have the church pay, sometimes even for players. So it's a possibility of income for sure.
Yeah, and just I think that as the older and more mature you get in life, the more a Sunday morning gig sounds appealing.
Yeah,
I'd rather be doing that
than not.
Yeah, maybe not the younger folks listening.
It's like, which do you want? Late Saturday nights in a bar or early Sunday mornings in a church?
So do they serve beer at church or
wine? I think. Jesus,
oh yeah, there you go.
Wine. So
there you go.
All right. So moving on to the next few things, and all of these things will be your mileage may vary, but I had to bring this up because on your list you had talked about content ID and royalties, and I don't think we can get to content ID unless you are doing some kind of music something that will generate content ID, and usually that's going to be royalty-free stock music licensing. Yeah, and Steve and I are both involved in that, and Steve is making a lot in that, and still it's a big part of your monthly income. Would you say that's right?
Well, you're talking about content ID or royalty free?
I'm on stock music licensing right now. Just that income from that.
Well, it's been slow this year. I mean, but the downloads from Artlist,
really slow.
Yeah. I mean, it's been slow. The problem is that Motion Array is really the library I talk the most about in terms of making that stock royalties. But like I haven't been able to write much for Motion Array because I've been so busy with Artlist. So that being said, the downloads from my non-exclusive stuff with Artlist have been amazing. So far this year, but as you guys know, I won't be able to see the end result of that until the end of the year. But so far so good. And yeah, I mean, I gotta just get to work with writing.
Well, if you look at your monthly, did you average out what you made monthly last year?
With Motion Array specifically?
Yes.
Oh, I can't remember. I think I did. And I think it was around $1,000. It was a little over $1,000 a month. Yeah.
So that's a nice part of anyone's monthly income, I would guess. I mean, it's not all anyone needs, especially those of us who are adults with families and things like that. 1,000 probably is not going to be what you need, but it's not bad if you could get there. I'm more about a fourth of that as far as my monthly income from it. So, but I also don't really focus on writing for that like you do. And so I think you have to do that to really do well on this. And then following stock music licensing, when you create stuff mainly for YouTubers or people who are going to make YouTube videos with this music that you are putting in stock music licensing, is content ID royalties, which is what YouTube uses to listen to what's being played, and they try to divide up who should get paid for whatever song is being played behind the video, and try to get that out right. Now, that's a whole other video that we could do about content ID at any time we talk about it, but certainly it's been something that's brought us both income. I don't know what my average was last year, but I'd say it was somewhere around $50 to $100. It wasn't a lot, but that was about my average last year, I'd say.
Yeah, it's funny. You know how I mean, it's folks who are on who have experience with the royalty-free sites like Audio Jungle and Motion Array know what it's like to constantly look at your stats and constantly refresh them and see where you're at. Yeah. Now I'm feeling like that with Content ID. I'm checking when the next
coming out.
When's the next monthly statement coming out, because I'm just so
you've been
curious.
Kind of going like this on that, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been an amazing trajectory. Last month was $500, and so and that was 10 times more than the previous month, and it seems to have just be growing like that. So I'm curious to see if it's going to be even better for September's statement, and that's only September. We still got the rest of 2022 to go.
October's actually out.
That's the one that was $500. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So this is something that can be a thing, but I don't think it can be a thing without stock music licensing. Because if you're not putting it in there originally, it's not going to be in there, because your content ID from your Artlist stuff is owned by Artlist, correct?
That's right. Yeah. So it's only coming from Motion Array downloads. I suppose there's other ways you can get your music out there, like if you had a YouTube channel and stuff that was maybe giving it away for free, that kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah, it would be difficult, I think. And Motion Array is just this engine that just pumps out music to a lot of users. So without it, I don't really know how I would get those numbers.
All right, a few smaller things now that you can do alongside everything else. Now, I think this one is called affiliate marketing, and Steve, you had this on your list. Why don't you start with this one?
Yeah, so affiliate marketing is really kind of the essential passive income for me. I did 1 or 2 videos on Arcade by Output on my YouTube channel, and they just generate views. I mean, I think you would have to set up a YouTube channel. Or I mean, you don't have to do a YouTube to be an affiliate marketer, but I think it's just been a really easy income stream for me. I can't remember what my total was for last year. That's on my 2022 breakdown video if you want to check that out. But it was the easiest money. It was so easy, and I think I could have made a lot more if I put some time into it.
Did they sponsor the video ahead of time?
Well, they didn't sponsor, but they gave me I suppose they did. I mean, they gave me free access to Arcade,
but no money up front.
No money up front. No, it was just it's just links. I get paid every time somebody clicks the link. I get paid even more if somebody buys the product through that link. So yeah, I mean, it's easy money. Every month they pay me a little something, and I haven't done a video. I could have done 4 or 5 more videos and probably made a lot more money.
And affiliate marketing, I've kind of put affiliate marketing and sponsorships here together, even though they're different things. But affiliate marketing could also be something you do on your blog. You don't have to do it on a video. You can do it on almost anything where you can put a link to
That's true,
someplace like Amazon or like a music distributor like Z Sounds is one of mine that I have on my site. And I haven't really seen any, but I don't do a lot of product sending people. I've got a little bit off Pond 5 affiliate program, however that works. And
what about DistroKid though? You were doing something for
DistroKid, a little bit from DistroKid I get. But the DistroKid, this is where sponsorships come in because they're sponsored ahead of time. They pay me like $200 or $300 to do a video that really talks about them in depth for at least for a couple of minutes.
They do that, eh? Cool. I didn't know that.
And so it's a way, so whenever I'm ready to talk about streaming, I'll usually ask them if they want to do a sponsored video, and they'll pay me ahead of time to do the video. And then they also offer me a link to send people there and people can get 7% off, and then I get something. I don't know what it is exactly.
Gotcha.
But so it's kind of a dual deal. Sponsored video that's also sending people to DistroKid, that's also giving me an affiliate link. But I know a lot of people, though, on a lot of these YouTube channels and blogs who make tons of money from their affiliate links because they're doing a video every week about a new camera, about a new mic, about new different gear and stuff. And then they're sending people, just like you did, to that link. And then there is affiliate marketing coming in. I would need to really focus on the things that I'm trying to push them to because I don't. I just put the links way down at the bottom of my my YouTube video text, and so nobody probably sees it. So, but yeah, affiliate marketing can be a big income, and I've seen a lot of people.
I think some people make a lot of money, like a really good living doing affiliate marketing only. But you really got to be one of those guys that like is pushing the products and going hard at it on your channel. And both of us are not really interested in
very
being
good hawkers.
I'm not sure. I can't say that I am. At least the products that I want to push on my channel don't have any affiliate programs. They're just going to get some free advertising from me, I guess.
Yeah, you're welcome, Motion Array.
Where's my Motion Array affiliate link?
They need to have one for you, especially.
Oh man, that'd be great. That'd be great.
All right. And then, kind of rounding out, this is sad that this is rounding out the end of the ideas of music income, but, music streaming, I still don't think we should sleep on it. And you talked about this almost at the beginning today about really focusing more and more on it because your art list is driving your streaming and your Spotify channel mostly. And so I think we've got to... there's a lot of reasons. I just did a video that I'll try to remember to put into the links below, but about why aren't you on Spotify? And I outline, I think, what are the most important reasons that you should be on the streaming services. And it goes beyond money. It goes into like your legacy, and it goes into your findability. If you're going to get into licensing, they need to be able to find that song if it gets into a television program. There's a lot of reasons why you need to be streaming your music other than and I even had people comment on my video saying, well, I'm just going to wait till they pay more. That's like saying I'm going to wait till record labels, pick me up or until they pay more. Well, you can wait, then go ahead. But, if you die tomorrow, no one's going to be able to find your music because it's sitting on your hard drive or on Pond 5, in the millions of songs on Pond 5. So you really need to be putting your music out on streaming, folks. And even if it only brings you in $50 this year or $100 this year, there's more than just the money of it. But certainly I think we both see some money coming in from streaming from time to time.
Yeah, for sure. I think people think of the streaming being like, I think people think of streaming as sort of a crapshoot when it comes to actually earning any kind of substantial income from it. But I don't know. You get your music on one of those playlists. I'm talking to several members of the Academy who've gotten one member he's got a tune on like one of the biggest lo-fi playlists, and we're talking about hundreds of thousands of streams. It's probably over 1 million now. And when you get 1 million streams on Spotify, that adds up to in the thousands of dollars. It's not pennies anymore. It's difficult. It's difficult to get those. They're coveted spots. But if you start building up a fan base of like followers on Spotify, and you're releasing regularly, you got a strategy behind it. I think that, we've talked to people like Dan Barracuda who have done You've done some numbers. Yeah, they've got some numbers to back up their income on Spotify, and it's like not a lot. It's not like a lot of money, but what he was probably doing like somewhere between 500 and 1,000 a month or something like that.
He was paying his rent. He was doing way more than 1,000. I think at some point it was over 2,000 a month. Now we need to do an update with Dan and see what's going on over there.
Totally.
But he is. When I was talking to him, he was literally paying his rent and way more with streaming, and it was only going up. It wasn't stopping. Now he may have experienced I don't know. We need to check in with Dan and find out what's up.
Let's bring him back.
We have seen people make their rent from music streaming, so you cannot discount it. It's just like music licensing of any kind. We've seen you and other people make really high, and people like Lester make a lot of money off of these sites and off of streaming. And so you cannot say that it just pays pennies. Well, somebody it's not paying pennies to, and because they're playing it the right way, and they found something that's working. So I really think we need to continue to look at that. So anything else I've missed here, Steve, that you can make music income while you're waiting for whatever ship to come in for licensing or your record deal or your stardom?
Well, I just want to encourage people to consider the idea of getting on YouTube and sharing your experiences there, because I mean, like, we haven't really talked about it, and this episode isn't about YouTube, but like, we're making AdSense bucks on YouTube, and that's an income stream as well. And I consider YouTube to be a music income stream. I'm on there talking about music and just sharing my music and sharing my production and just blabbing away like we're doing right now, except for we're recording it and uploading it. It's pretty simple. There's not much to it.
It's actually not so much YouTube income. It's the income of the brands that we've made. Like, I've made this brand here, and it's not just the podcast. It's not just the YouTube income. It's not just sales of ebooks or video courses that you offer on your academy or memberships or anything. It's all of it. It's all of it together as an income. If you put that all together, it starts to look like a monthly income that equals what you averaged in stock last year. And so, or does better, actually. My channel did better in 2022 than my stock income. Way better, like twice as much. And so that is an income. And I would not be sitting here today if this guy right here had not said, put your face on the camera. He said, you need to be telling your story, because we talked before I even started my channel. That's when we first got together and started talking. And I was just like, I don't know if I want to be on the camera. And, I got enough to do with all my clients and everything.
Which is fair enough, right? It's not for everybody. I'm not trying to convince everybody to do it, but I think both of us were like that. We both started out being very reticent to put our face out there. And now that I'm sort of used to it, and you are too, I imagine, like, it's really kind of changed both of our lives in a really profound way. And it's been a way for us to build a community. And I think that's like the best part about it,
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. And everybody's got a different experience. It's not that you are the end. It's like my sync book coming out. It's not everyone else's sync experience. It's only mine. So, but I think it's important to share that sync experience so that people can glean possible things that might happen for them with sync and same with my stock book, ebook. It's just, that's my journey. This is what's happened to me. And hope this helps you with your journey,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, that's about all we have for this episode. Thanks so much for being part of the Make Music Income podcast. We'll be back next week with another podcast, another video. Thanks so much for watching, and we will hope you make some music income this week. We hope to as well.
I hope I do as well.
See you later, guys.
See you guys. Take care.